Hello everyone, this is Cookies, and I've got some more turns of Asphodel. Um, another warning, probably not a lot gonna happen in this one. Still just continuing to mostly try and bank nature and death gems. Do a little bit of transmute fire. Uh, while we can, before we do Utter Dark, we're gonna go ahead and try to hold on to all of our trolls and whatnot that cost upkeep. And that's so if we have to astral travel somewhere, we have a bunch of living troops that we can also throw into the mix. Also, Eternal Twilight has been dispelled. So the pearls that we sent to, and along with everyone else who is not Machaka, I think everyone sent between 20 and 30 pearls, and Nidavinger contributed 35 pearls, and we went ahead and dispelled Eternal Twilight. Went ahead and picked up a couple more liches. Cast a wizard tower. I'm going to try to put down more wizard towers on forests and then temple them to shore up the Dominion a little bit. We drowned a few more panics. This is all part of getting our upkeep down. So we're working on that. And yeah, so let's go ahead and see here. We've only got 2 battles this turn. Let's go ahead and check them out. So we've got a little tiny attack on Nama. And these might be the worst, some of the worst troops in the game, these poor Machaka militia. So Machaka trying to get rid of them. And then we've got Shinuyama attacking Machaka inside this fort. Now, the Machaka army, I was a little bit surprised that there wasn't more mage support here, but we do get 2 N4s with Eyes of Gaia for temporary nature gems. Very big temporary gem gen boosters. We've got a champion, it looks like, and we've got a bishop fish with a ring of the false prophet to go ahead and bless everyone. He flew in on a magic carpet. Then we've got a bunch of sacreds. And this Shinuyama army, I think used to be about 400 troops, but as we zoom in here, you'll see most of them are hurt. They got hit, I think, by at least 2 flames from the sky, from what I got told. So, yeah, the army is kind of a shadow of its former self. And then we've got this hero with a bunch of earth gems. There's an Uba here with some nature gems. Death Mage. Then we got a big air mage with a Staff of Elemental Mastery with a bunch of air gems, a Daitengu. We've got this Celestial Bureaucrat, who is the pretender of Shinuyama. S7 with a lot of pearls. Pretty spooky. And then we've got Hisashi, the Bakemono Sork. With heroic quickness, he's geared out as a heavyweight thug. So we'll have to get a look at all this stuff, and then he's got a bunch of Dai Bakemono, and only a few Tengus survived. So I think we'll go ahead and let this play out, and then I'll look into what all was cast. As a quick reminder, the Bless, Regen, and Berserker with attack skill, I believe, from the Fire Throne on Machaka. Heck, I'm gonna Sorcerer Thug on the wall. Alright. And we're starting to get the general route from Machaka. These two stolen spiders still holding the gate. One goes down. There goes the other one. Alright. So if I pause this really quick, I wonder if I can pull up the scripts. So in terms of the core mage cores, I guess, for each side, Shinuyama's completely retreated. I don't think anyone died. The Bishop Fish did die, which is a pretty big loss for Machaka, because that Ring of the False Prophet is cursed, and I believe that's gone now. And then two of the sorcerers, both of them died, and they had all the expensive gear. We'll see if this is a replay bug or not, but I'll go ahead and take a look at the script here. So we've got Earth Power and Firestorm. Alright. Then we've got Earth Power, Iron Skin, Temper Flesh, Quicken Self, and Fire Shield. Pretty solid buff script for this thug. And I guess we'll have to see what he, in terms of what he killed. Looks like he got the Weakened Affliction. This guy did summon Earth Power, Legions of Steel, Steel Slice Warriors twice, Gift of Giant Strength, and then looks like he was on Advance and Cast. We've got the Divine Blessing and Fanaticism. The Pretender did Anti-Magic Doom, Will of the Fates, and followed up with Opposition. And a bunch of Enslaved Mind. The Child of Oni put up Marble Army and Steel Slice Warriors, and then did various evocations. The Daitengu put up Greater Farflight, which I think buffs archers, and then also Soaring Army, which we saw when all the diebacks jumped in. I do wonder a little bit if that hurt their efforts, but we'll have to see what killed these sorcerers. Alright, so that was the Daitengu. The Ghost Cat did some heals. Heart Rider, who is, or Heart Hider, I believe they're immortal, yeah. What did he do? Looks like just a lot of Horde of Skeletons. Then we've got a couple of commanders. This sorcerer did Army of Giants and then Burned to Death. And this sorcerer did Army Regen and then ate a longbow and died. And then this Uba did Serpent's Blessing, Healing Touch, Wilderness, Charm Animal. Because these, I think these spiders are animals. Although we can check. And then this one did Frostfend. Frostflesh army was interrupted by Firestorm. So maybe 5 fire resist is okay, but it's not really enough. You'd probably have to do elemental fortitude to get it up to 10 to make sure that you could cast everything you need to cast. And then this guy did Sacred Wind. Okay. A couple of interesting notes, I think, during this battle was, if I remember right, I mean, we can watch it again. We're not going to have a lot of entertainment this episode. What was it? I'm trying to remember. Okay, yeah. So the firestorm went off, but the fire fend caster, or I guess the frost flesh caster, who might have been a backup caster, is my guess. They might have. I'm thinking that caster might have died in the firestorm, or not the firestorm, the flames from the sky. And so these guys didn't get their fire resist during the battle. So I believe these Daibakemono just kind of slowly burn up. Yeah, so they've got some poison res, but they don't have the fire res that you would want. Now, admittedly, is it? Firestorm is AP damage, and they've got a tremendous amount of protection, so they've got 25 protection. But you will, without that little bit of fire resist, I think you will occasionally get DRNs that punch through this. But, I mean, you could see how long they stood under it, so they didn't care too much. But it is a small thing that the fire, I think the fire resistance spell was cast first. Or no, was going to be cast second and probably should have been first. All right, and then a couple of other events. So we got some pearls, we got some gold, which was pretty nice. And then there was a Dominion change. And then we got some more carrion things. Okay. So in terms of, what was it? Is it enchantment? I think it's alteration that does this, right? Yeah, so Frost Flesh gives the 5 fire resist. And that one was set second in the script. So that's why I do think that there was probably a Fire Fin caster that got killed. And I do think that's why I normally try to have Fire Fend on the same caster that's doing Firestorm, but I can understand splitting it up if you're worried about it taking too long to get put up. So, but that's a kind of calculated risk. But his own Firestorm didn't seem to hurt him that much, but I thought it was interesting. All right. And in terms of what's going on here, so we saw this battle. We're going to mobilize more scouts around the area because I want to see more about what's going on here while we transition our panic apostates out of our upkeep column and into carrion lords and liches. We are going to fuck up this turn. This guy is not twice born, and we're drowning him. So we just paid a lot of money for a panic that we're going to kill. But the other two are twice born. So, and the control that I was doing was I was twice borning, or I was renaming only people who were named. And so I named this guy, but I must have forgotten or messed up the twice born order. So that's why I assumed that I was good. I probably should have still double checked. All right, in terms of what we're forging this turn, we're getting a Mask of Face Borrowing for, a couple of these are really nice, and we've been using them for our Troll Kings to get around. For our artifact, we're getting Nethgul just as like a nice bonus for a golem or something. Wasn't really sure what I wanted to get there. We are going to Lichcraft this guy. And then... But otherwise, we're rotating through the last few of our Panic Apostates. So we're down to 12, and we're gonna keep going until we have none. We do have Dropnir now on Slock here. I forget if we talked about that last episode, but now we're upkeep positive. We won't have to transmute fire anymore. And I believe we did the Wizard Tower right here on Melma. So we're going to go ahead and lock down this throne. I think that's where it went. We're going to do a couple more of those, though. All right, in terms of research, we're going to go ahead and finish up Thom 8. Thom 8 is really important because it's got astral travel, and our pretender can actually astral travel. So this one, she won't necessarily be able to come home with said army, but the army could leave with her. And we can put a fair amount of stuff on her. She's got 100 undead leadership, 160 magic leadership, 125 normal leadership. And I probably should make, in my current turn, I should make a leadership kit for her. That would allow her to leave with more stuff. And that would be like our Throne Rush additional help kind of contingent. All right. Zan's coming back. We're going to go ahead and lichify Zan, which is throwing away the Twiceborn, but he's air empowered. So I think having him as a lich is going to be more useful than having him as a Carrion Lord potentially. And other than that, we're doing a little bit more site searching, but we're also starting to slowly put up domes as we kind of wrap up what we're intending to do with site searching. Okay, so yeah, so we've got Lichcraft, Augury, a little bit of stuff, but not too much. All right, and I think that's it for this turn. We have promised Nidavanger that we're going to let him work with other powers to contain Machaka. And so, because we see Machaka invading Shinuyama, and if they invade Shinuyama, then they'll probably win the game. And I don't think I can magic phase enough stuff to the thrones I would need to defend to prevent that from happening. It does look like we did catch this little attack here, so maybe Naba's going to fight Machaka as well. And then we see this big Nidavanger army. So if they can contain Machaka, that should buy me the time I need to put my meme into action, which is our 900 cast of Utterdark and our 700 cast of Enchanted Forest. I will be oh so sad if they bump each other. So, in terms of globals, here's the current global situation, though. We're not going to pull the trigger just yet, although this empty global slot is tempting. And then here is the throne situation. I have the Throne of Chains, so we've got 3. Machaka has 3. Nidavanger has 1. Kalem's got 2. Shinuyama's got 2. And Naba's got 1. So that's the current throne picture. You do need 7 to win, so Machaka would need to pick up 4 more. So I think just them fighting Shinuyama and Nidavanger should be enough to contain Machaka. And then a few more turns of Well of Misery should allow a few more forests to spawn, I'm hoping. So we'll see how that goes. All right. And we've also restarted Black Centaur recruitment because they're still good troops, so still worth having. They provide a stealthy component to our otherwise very not stealthy armies, even if it is very limited. All right, and I think that's it for turn 68. I'll go ahead and jump into turn 69. Okay, and I've got turn 69 pulled up, so Talalik has empowered himself in air. We've got another Lichcraft here. We've got a couple of Gnome Lores, found an Iron Cliff, a few events. Now we're back to our normally bad events. We drown our panics, but only 2 of them come back because we screwed up Twice Burning Raffgear. A couple of our Harpies get patrolled out, so we'll have to be careful around those areas, and we get a terrain change, which is good. The more the merrier. Okay, and in terms of this turn, yeah, there were no battles. We are casting Lichcraft on Zan, so that'll convert him. And we've got a 1 Gnome Lore coming out. Oh, and then we are forging the Armor of Virtue, which is a returning armor, which is pretty nice. I think it's around the same cost as a Ring of Returning, so it allows us to get some armor out of that. I think it's good for stuff like golems or a pretender. And then we're going to go ahead and forge a Terrafoil. So yeah, that's what we're forging. And I'll go ahead and jump into turn 70, but otherwise I'm doing a lot of the same stuff. We did double check this time. We had all 3 of these guys twice spawned. And we're still continually, rapidly moving out of Panic Apostate land, so I think we should go from maybe 8 to 4 this time. So moving through the last few, creating more gap here. And this gap is useful, so it's worth doing. The Transmute Fire was very much optional. I don't think we would have minded a little bit of desertion, although I do like trolls in the late game. They're nice high MR troops, even if you have to pay gold for them. I would like them a lot more if I didn't have to pay gold for them, but I will take what I can get. But the reason why we're creating this gap between income and upkeep is so we can build more temples and strengthen our dominion a bit before we do our Enchanted Forests play. So that's the idea there. And yeah, let's go ahead and jump into turn 70. All right, so I've got turn 70 pulled up here. We do Lichcraft. A Dire Portent goes up. We'll take a look at that in just a second. Drown a few more. We catch a small little raid. It's some dieback mono killing PD. One of our temples gets destroyed, which is super depressing. I love all my temples. And End has become a forest, which is great, because that we should be able to get a lot more Enchanted Forest control from that province, which will be fantastic. And then we get a few more Carrion Lords. I suppose we can watch this fight super quick, but it's not very interesting. Dieback Mono are very good. And the goat goes with them. The most important thing is the goat, I think, did not survive. So unfortunately, the goat did not survive, which is a tragic loss, and we can be very upset at Shinuyama for losing this goat. All right. So in terms of this turn, we need to rebuild that temple. Where was that? That was Archytas. Let's see. Yeah. So that was down here. I'll have to double check that I rebuilt. Yeah, we're immediately rebuilding, which is good. That's why we've been saving some cash. And then in terms of our panic apostate count, we are indeed down to 4. We're going to be sending, let's see, we've got 3 more panics here. They are all twice spawned. And I think the last one is on the way, which is Arpatheus. So we'll get them converted and then we'll be out of panics, which is pretty good. In terms of what we're forging this turn, we're gonna make a dragon summoning kit. So we've got a dragon scepter, dragon crown, and we're gonna cast Dragon Master on this fairy queen. We're also putting out a lot of simulacrums, and that's so if they die in A Flames from the Sky, maybe they'll come back. And then we put up another dome in Melma. So other than that, not a heck of a lot going on. If you're curious about how much stuff I have, here's all the mages. You can take a look at that. And then here's all the troops. So we've got near 6,000 just plain old mannequins. And thousands of other stuff. So I'm sure our army graph is off the charts. A lot of this, like one Bakemono sorcerer with a fire shield effect can kill hundreds of mannequins. So it's not a huge deal. The most important pieces, though, are we have near 300 carrion furies. We've got carrion behemoths can be stolen. These get worse in the deep late game in some ways, unless you use them in the raiding game. We have 101 black centaurs. And where are the and 455 Sagittarian carcasses. So that's kind of like our sacred core that we're relying on. So, okay. And I think that's it for this one. I do have a couple more turns, but I think I'll wait for maybe another week's worth of turns to bank up. And then hopefully I have some time to do some recording next week, and I'll go ahead and cut this one off here. And I will see you guys in the next one. Have a good one. Bye.